Friday's practice was initially planned to be a full 2.5-hour practice, but after the injury bug bit the Broncos yesterday, head coach Vic Fangio and his staff decided to reel things back a bit and go hard for just 2 hours instead. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Training Camp Tonight, powered by Ford. Yesterday, Von Miller and Melvin Gordon weren't able to finish practice, dealing with a couple of small injuries. And while they did not practice here today, they did look to be in good spirits on the sidelines. As you know, linebacker Todd Davis was carted off the field yesterday. Head coach Vic Fangio provided an update on him after practice. So with more on that, let's send it over to Matt Boyer.
Thank you, Alexis. Yeah, injuries not really a concern for the Broncos in the early part of camp. Not so at the end of this 6-day stretch. Head coach Vic Fangio updating Todd Davis' status. It's going to be a calf injury for Davis that's going to keep him out at least a week. It's not as severe as the one he sustained last year that kept him out of the entire preseason and the first part of the regular season. So we expect to see Davis back here towards the end of training camp. However, in the interim, that's going to give guys like Justin Strnad, Josh Watson, and Josie Jewell all some opportunity to play alongside Alexander Johnson with that ones and twos group within the Broncos defense. Let's get to some highlights real quick. We started with offense in the past couple of days, but defense, how about Justin Simmons? The early interception in the practice period. That secondary group, Boyer and Simmons, have been around the ball all camp long. And how about Locke to Sutton? A common refrain. We've heard it plenty of times this camp. Drew Lock finding his favorite target, number 1-4, over the middle there. And Royce Freeman and Levante Bellamy, names that we don't usually hear when we're talking about the running backs group because of Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay, but Royce Freeman, a nice touchdown run during the red zone period, and Bellamy running hard in that live period. Vic Fangio said that tackling was going to be implemented towards the end of this week, and we saw it down there in the red zone. Bellamy, a very nice run there. The Broncos are going to be off on Saturday before picking things up back on Sunday. Head coach Vic Fangio said they're still in that ramp-up phase, so hopefully we will see even more hitting on Sunday. That'll do it for us here down by the field. Alexis, let's toss things back up to you.
Thanks so much, Matt. Well, with the first week of training camp officially in the books, that means we are 1 week closer to the season opener September 14th between the Broncos and Titans. Today, the Broncos announced, unfortunately, that fans will not be able to attend that Week 1 matchup at Empower Field at Mile High. Today, the Hall of Famer Steve Atwater was joined by former Broncos quarterback and NFL legend Peyton Manning to discuss that news and get his thoughts on this current Broncos roster.
Broncos released a statement today. There will be no fans for the first game allowed in the stadium. Hopefully everyone will still tune in and check it out.
Well, it's not a surprising announcement. I think everybody probably knew that was coming, and I know all Broncos fans will be tuned into the TV watching that first game against the Titans. Certainly the disappointing thing for the Broncos players, as you know, Steve, playing here in Denver at Mile High is such a huge advantage, right?
Yeah.
It's the home field advantage, it's the altitude, it's the crowd noise.
It was a treat, right? It's a treat.
There's no doubt. It's the sunlight. As you know, it's always sunny here in Denver.
Yes.
And if you're not used to playing here, there's certain receivers, depending on which direction you're going, that sun is right in your eyes. And so I always thought playing at home, we had such an advantage, combining that, but mainly because of the crowd noise, and it affects those teams. So the fact that won't be there will be an adjustment. It'll be a lot like kind of what we're watching right now, right? Practicing without fans, you're playing without fans. There won't be as much crowd noise, certainly. I don't know if they're going to pump in noise like they do out here at practice, or they're going to be creative, or I'm sure Mac Freeman's got some good ideas up his sleeve. So I think once the players start the game, they'll kind of maybe forget the fans aren't there and just go play and go try to win.
Now, Peyton, sometimes we get tweets, we get messages on Facebook about, why aren't they showing plays? Why can't we see the formations? Can you explain to the people why we can't do that?
What's that, in practice out here?
Yeah, why we're not showing formations and plays.
Well, I mean, there were rumors that all the years that kind of during your time, Steve, when y'all were practicing, that Al Davis for the Raiders
had a camera,
bought an office building right across the way, and was trying to film all practices. Whether it's true or not, it's a heck of a story. And so, look, it's a competitive league. Everybody's trying to find some way to get ahead of everybody else. And so, there's a famous story about the Super Bowl Cowboys versus the Bills down in Atlanta. Jimmy Johnson is watching some Sports Center coverage, and he sees the Bills run a little shovel pass. Jim Kelly's kind of shoveling the ball to Thurman Thomas, and he sees this on Sports Center a couple of days before the game, and he goes back and he goes, hey, have we seen Buffalo run a shovel pass all year? And they're like, not really. Like, hey, let's be ready for that in the game, right? So he got kind of a tip by seeing the formations and seeing things that maybe Buffalo was doing in practice. And so that's why a lot of those things have changed, where you just can't show everything because, we don't want to give the Chiefs or the Raiders or the Chargers any more advantage in trying to get ahead of us.
I couldn't have explained it any better than that.
Well, it's not every day you get to listen to a Hall of Famer and a future Hall of Famer talk through a Broncos training camp practice, but today, Steve Atwater and Peyton Manning did just that. Atwater asked Manning his thoughts on this current Broncos roster, and specifically the young gunslinger, Drew Lock.
What do you think about this team, Peyton? You got high. I know you probably got high hopes, but what do you think they can really do?
It's just so hard. It's hard to know with the all that's been going on. The zero off-season program. I mean, I think everybody. I'm sure. I was with Coach Fangio a couple weeks ago, and you really just for the first time seeing what kind of shape these guys in. I mean, Coach Fangio hadn't met Jerry Jeudy until a few weeks ago, right? I mean, it was all virtual and Zoom. So I think it's still early to kind of make some bold prediction or somebody that says they know. But I think every team obviously is at that type of juncture and getting to know their team. Certainly with the new offensive coordinator with Pat Shurmur, and with Drew as the quarterback, it's going to take a little time for them to kind of get on the same page, and that doesn't just happen overnight. That's why you have off-season programs. That's why you like the April and the May and June mini camps. That's why those are important, I think. And so you take all that out, and now we're trying to cram for a test, which is coming against the Titans in just a couple of weeks.
Right.
That's not easy. So I mean, look, I'm a quarterback defender, so I would say let's understand that it's not going to be perfect early on, but I think things will get better, as the season goes on. And
what can Drew Lock do to mimic what you did? Now, I know it's a crazy question. I don't even know if he can do it. I don't know if anybody will do what you did, but
I don't think anybody wants to try to make comparisons to anybody else. I think every quarterback wants to be their own guy, and I've enjoyed getting to know Drew. He came down to our football camp when he was at Missouri, and I got my son Marshall with me behind me. I remember Marshall, was talking to Drew. Drew took a picture with him, and so you always learn a lot about a guy, about how he treats a 7-year-old, 8-year-old kid at a football camp. So and enjoyed staying in touch. We sort of keep in touch. My dad keeps in touch with all these college counselors that come to the camp, and then all of a sudden, no idea that Drew's going to end up here in Denver. So have stayed in touch with him. I've seen him in the off season, and spent about an hour and a half on the phone with him earlier this year, kind of talking about some things that I used to do in the off season and kind of having an off season plan, kind of writing that schedule down. So he had great questions, and I think that's all you want in a young quarterback, somebody that wants to learn, somebody that wants to get better. And but I think he's got a little swagger to him, right? He's got a little edge to him.
He has that,
which I think is important. I think you got to have. It's a tough position, and you got a lot of people, kind of expecting things from you, and so to have a little swagger to you is a good thing.
So did you ever have to get loud with the receiver because the receiver said, "Throw me the ball, Peyton"?
Well,
it must be a yes.
There's only a little pause kind of tells you the answer, right? The football, there's only one football out there, and it's a good problem to have, right? When you got a lot of guys that want the ball.
Yeah.
And the reason is they feel like if they get the ball, it can help our chances win and help our chances of winning. So I get it, but I think they knew that I was trying to get the ball to all of them, and we tried to spread it around pretty evenly around here. Tried to get everybody involved, especially early in the game. As you know, some games it's going to be this guy's day, the next week it's going to be this guy's day, but Most of the teams that I played on, I think they at least knew that I was trying to get the ball to the open guy and trying to get different guys open in the scheming and the game planning. And once again, it goes back to having the right kind of guys on your team, right? Having unselfish guys that want to win, and putting the team over self. I think is important.
Now, as a quarterback, did you have like a prototypical wide receiver in your mind, like a person that was 6 feet tall, 195, or was it really just matter how many plays he made? But
yeah, I don't think there's a prototype, if you will. I mean, Demaryius Thomas looks different than Jerry Jeudy. Marvin Harrison, look different than Eric Decker, right? So I think you want a good work ethic. You want a guy that knows how to get open. Marvin Harrison had unbelievable quickness and speed, and it was hard to jam him, right? Because if they missed, he was gone. Demaryius was so big and physical that you were more likely to kind of stay off of him, right, to try to keep him in front of you. So ultimately, you want guys that put a little, not fear, but that the defense has to respect.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what you're looking for, and to me, that comes a lot of different ways.
So what do you see out here, Peyton?
I don't know. I hate to join the daily training camp evaluation club, where I can remember all those years in playing where you threw a couple of incompletions in practice and everybody's going, up. Colts offense is going to be bad this year.
Right.
They threw some incompletions, so I'm gonna probably reserve judgment. But Steve, as you know, there's probably a winner, every single day in practice, right? Defense is going to have their day, offense is going to have their day. So this is kind of the first team drill that we're getting to watch. I feel like I'm sort of kind of teasing the fans, right? I'm getting to watch the practice that they don't get to watch. So it's like sort of dangling ice cream out in front of a child. But
they're just not able to see the formation. They may be able to see some
plays. Yeah. So Coach Fangio's is a defensive guru. He's been doing it for a long time. Vic Fangio, people maybe don't realize he was the defensive coordinator for the Colts in my second, third, and fourth season. So competed against him in practice every day. And so I think, Drew Lock will benefit from competing against this, Vic Fangio style of defense every day in practice. And even though you may not complete every pass and you may have sort of some ugly practices from time to time, you just sort of file it all away.
Right.
And the idea is
getting them reps.
Is to get reps and to get ready to play the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Raiders.
Thanks for sticking with us for this final segment of training camp tonight. Well, it was a real treat getting some insight into day 7 of Broncos training camp with Steve Atwater and Peyton Manning. Here are a few more of some of our favorite moments between two of the greatest players to ever wear orange and blue.
Was there an offensive line position that you thought was more important than the other one? Is the tackle more important than center and guard?
No, I think they were all equally important, and getting 5 guys to gel and work together is just as important as the quarterback and receiver having great timing, right? There's a lot of communication. I think people don't all understand how smart these offensive linemen have to be. The communication, especially with the crowd noise, that we're not going to have in these first few weeks. Offensive linemen probably will not hate that. They get to hear what the left tackle is saying, what the center is saying. They can communicate it out. So you got to be fast twitch thinkers. You got to be good communicators, and of course you got to be physically talented. Otherwise you wouldn't even have a chance to be on the field. So, but it's about getting 5 guys to work together, and it's not necessarily the 5 prototypical offensive linemen, biggest and strongest. I mean, you want tough guys. I remember Jeff Saturday, my center in Indianapolis, was a wrestler. Always like a good wrestler.
Oh yeah.
As your center, as a guard, somebody that's gonna
keep that leverage.
Is gonna fight and scratch and claw for you. And so that's really all you can ask for, is these guys to fight for the quarterback.
Yeah, we saw Drew Lock on that last play, scramble out. How important is mobility in today's game? I mean, it was important back when you played too, but I mean.
Well, I wouldn't know much about mobility, Steve.
Hey,
so
you did pretty good when you had to. I remember you getting out.
When Julius Peppers is chasing after you, somehow you get a little faster. Right. It's the only time I really found any type of burst, if you will. So, yeah, I think, look, I don't really care how fast you are, but the ability to move and get out of a cluster of defensive linemen, especially when somebody's open, right? It's the worst when somebody's open downfield and you got kind of a mosh pit of players around the quarterback. Can the quarterback still move and get away just with maybe a slide to the right or a step up and get the throw down the field? And that's something I always kind of worked on, and I think that's important for quarterbacks to, like I said, it doesn't really matter how fast you run the 40-yard dash in. I mean, I couldn't run out of sight in a week, but I thought I could move in the pocket enough to get the throws off, and I think that's something that Drew does well. I think he moves, and it looks to me like he keeps his eyes downfield as he's moving in the pocket. That's important, right? One quarterback one-on-one tip is, quarterback should never look at the you should never have your eyes at the defensive line. You have your eyes downfield the whole time, and you feel the defensive line, kind of a sixth sense, if you will, and that's a good thing for a quarterback to work on.
When you came into the league right from the start, man, were people looking to you to be a leader, and how much pressure was that?
Yeah, I think you got to kind of earn that leadership role. Just because you're the quarterback doesn't make you a leader, And being a rookie, it can be tough to be a leader. I think you can earn the respect of your teammates. I think that's a goal for every young player, to earn the respect of their teammates, of their opponents, of the defense, of the coaches. I think that's a good early goal. If you do that, then you have a chance. And you do that by certainly how you perform on the practice field, but hey, what time are you getting to the building, right? How late are you staying? Are you in the training room when you're supposed to be, right? Just a lot of the little things that other players can go, hey, this guy's serious about his job. He's serious about his profession. He wants to help us win, right? And so that's kind of what I tried to do early on. We weren't very good my rookie year. 3-13 was a tough year, but I played every snap, took every snap that year, and tried to get up for my hits and take responsibility for my play and my interviews. And I think slowly, toward the end of that year, you kind of develop the respect of your teammates, where you can be a little more of a vocal leader. And we kind of turned it around. We went from 3-13 to 13-3 the next year, and I think that's because I kind of kept my mouth shut that first year and kind of learned how to work and hopefully earn the respect of my coworkers.
Well, you got a record that I know you don't like to mention. I'm hoping that somebody else breaks that.
Nice
not on our team.
Right, that's right. Yeah, got some good candidates this year with some of these new rookie quarterbacks. That's the rookie interception record. I was just told the other day, I've been saying for a while it was 26. It was actually 28.
28, yeah.
Just mentally, I dropped it by a couple. So as long as it doesn't get to 30, I'll be okay.
Great stuff between Steve Atwater and Peyton Manning. Now, if you missed any of the full 55-minute live stream, head to denverbroncos.com or check out our social channels. Now, as a reminder, the Broncos will be off tomorrow, but they will be back in action on Sunday. Be sure to tune in to Training Camp Live, powered by Ford. Steve Atwater will be joined by David Bruton for a live look-in on Day 8. Have a great weekend, Broncos country.